What would you do if you had 24 hours to fix your dream car?
And if you succeed, it's yours to keep.
Meet Tony. He works for Jaguar specialist Tom Lenthall, and he has a soft spot for this very XFR.
The XFR, that's the kiddie.
Would you repair that blue one?
I'd love to, yeah. God, yeah.
Multiple times you're like, I want to save this car.
I think you need to. It's such a cool car.
And this is the car, a 5-litre supercharged V8 Jag that we bought for just £6,500. But after a few weeks, its engine died, leaving us with a huge headache.
We removed the engine to see if we could diagnose the issue, but it wasn't good news.
A sensible person would break this car up for parts or just scrap it entirely.
But we don't want to see this car die.
So Tony's challenge is to fix this broken Jaguar XFR in the next 24 hours.
And if he can, it's his. Right, Tony, it is 7:05 p.m. on Friday night. I've started the timer. There it is.
Perfect.
Just for checking.
The first step was to determine whether the engine was actually worth saving. We had diagnosed the issue, but weren't yet certain if any internal components had been damaged.
We're going to do a cylinder compression test. It's going to tell us if any of the valves are bent, if there's any engine damage.
Okay.
This was a nerve-wracking step, as any internal engine damage would likely prevent Tony from completing this job within the 24-hour window.
For the engine to run cleanly, the cylinder needs to be sealed. Compressed air goes into the cylinder and it will measure how much of that air is escaping. This is the last one and there may be a slight issue. We're at roughly 15% leakage. A small leakage like that, I think we'll get away with it. There is another slight issue with this cylinder. You may have experienced a bit of a buzzing noise.
Ah, you know what, that must be the problem. Now, for reference, Tony said earlier, so the book time on this...
So for the bottom chain is around 18 hours.
18 hours. So part of that is taking the engine out.
Part of that's taking the
which is
engine
already
out.
out, so that's good, but that's not considering there's a lot of stuff that we've broken, is missing, we've put in the wrong place, completely lost, all of that stuff. So there's a lot of TDC bullshit Tony's going to have to get past, which has got to be another 18 hours or so.
What I don't have much confidence in is the state that the car's now been left in. Let's start tearing down.
Lovely.
Now that we knew that the engine was somehow still in working order, Tony got busy and spent the next hour tearing down the Jag's V8, prepping it for the new timing chain kit.
You are an hour and a half in. I mean, you might not look that different here, but if you come over here, Will... Oh, hello.
You boys love messing up my order, don't you?
Oops, I did kick
Nice arranged set of bolts. Just kick them across the floor.
Trying to slow them down. Over here, you can see the entire front of the chain and that third chain that is sufficiently slack for you to want to change it. These are the fuel pumps. They slot on there, right?
Fuel pumps slot on here. This is your fuel pump camshaft. Drives the fuel pump, and your oil pump is also driven off that same chain.
So the next step, you're just going to take the chains off and then engine back together, and that's your engine done.
You make it sound so simple. We're going to time it on the crank.
Okay.
We know the cams aren't
They're
quite
not
going to be
happy.
there. Get everything where it should be timed.
And then...
Start building up.
Hey, an hour and a half in, it's not bad timing already.
It's not bad timing.
But saying that, I thought it's probably worth having a look at the things that need to be put back on the car, because we've laid it out outside. As if doing the engine wasn't enough, Tony is then going to need to finish the engine. He then needs to put the torque converter, which is somewhere else over there, back into the gearbox, bolt the gearbox into the back of the engine into the car. He then needs to do the exhaust system. He then needs to do the undertrays, the arch liners, the exhaust housings, the exhaust with the downpipes that we spent hours taking off, the rad pack, which we spent hours trying to get off, all of the scuttle panels and undertrays and stuff, the supercharger, the flywheel, everything in this box is all stuff we took off. The brakes, the subframe, those bolts, Will, that we spent hours and hours dealing with.
Yeah, they're broken.
There's a lot to do here. This isn't just put engine back together and whaz it in the car.
I'd be panicking
No, he's
now.
a calm man.
Yeah.
Calmer man than I.
With the clock ticking but solid progress underway, Tony pressed on with preparing the engine for the timing chain kit.
Right, so we're now at the point of taking the chains off.
You did make a discovery though, right? There's some slack in this chain. That's too much.
And this is the one where we can identify it by the scoring.
Now let's look at the other one, Will.
Ooh. I've had one once before and the cams were spun completely. We had bent valves. It was throw the engine in the bin territory.
So this is somehow still a miracle engine.
Honestly, it's buy me a lottery ticket, please. So the crankshaft is now timed. It's not locked off because we've taken the lower sump off, which is where the timing hole is to put the timing tool in. So at the back of a bank with the loose chain, this is our timing tool. Two little slots go into the back of the cams. And it slots.
So that's in time.
That is absolutely in time.
With the crankshaft.
With the crankshaft. This side, the inlet cam is fine. Exhaust cam, nowhere near. We're probably tooth, maybe two.
Okay, but even just it being a tooth or two, the whole thing needs to come apart to do that anyway.
Still needs to come apart, yeah, correct.
Right, well, time's a ticking.
Time's ticking, let's get it going.
So on that note, Tony got the old chains removed.
The chains are off.
Chains are off.
You're off the chain.
This was the very, very slack chain. It's pretty difficult to see, but the score marks on the back of it are quite heavy. So it's definitely been rubbing.
To replace the old damaged chains, Tony had a full chain kit, and it was time to lay out all of the essentials.
Yep, need that. They're the parts that are going to get this job done.
Listen, if there's one thing we can do, I can order a mean Nando.
After a quick dinner break, Tony began the reassembly process on the Jag's engine.
He installed the new lower chain, which drives the fuel and oil pumps, then resealed the oil pan, getting it ready to be mounted back onto the bottom of the engine.
19 hours, we have dropped below the 20.
It's coming along.
It's worryingly swift progress.
We've got one chain on.
The third chain. The big one, he's done.
He's done. He's in. So camshafts are timed. We need to put the timing chains on, time the engine up, and then build up. If we can do that now...
Then that means all of tomorrow, you've just got to worry dealing with our bullshit.
This is why I'm knocking my nuts out now to get this done. Because I know there's going to be something wrong.
There's already something.
There is already
you've
something.
discovered. Now, we showed Tony the car. We told him all of the things he would need for this challenge, plus he also ordered more stuff. But there was something that he forgot. Well, we forgot. Reese, one of the other guys that works here at Tom Lenthall, walked over and said, Tony, have you got engine mounts for this car? And Tony went, no, these guys do. And we went, no, Tony does. And then we went and looked at the car. These are the mounts which obviously hold your engine. An engine has a lot of vibrations, that sort of stuff, and it would rattle you to death if you had solid engine mounts. So they put rubber mounts in there to dampen it. Over time, they die. And Reese said, there is an issue with this one. You should not be able to disconnect it with your hand. That's an issue. So first thing in the morning, I think you and I might be going to look for XFI engine mount.
We've got to go and do a little adventure and find where the hell we get two of those from.
On a Saturday bank holiday weekend.
With 15 odd hours, whatever it's going to be left to go.
Uh-oh.
As we moved deeper into the night, Tony was still hard at work installing the new chains, and we noticed something a little strange.
It is 12:05. Someone's calling Tom Lenthall, the company number. Who's ringing here? It's 12. What are you doing on a Saturday?
Tony then noticed something concerning with one of the engine components.
I should have checked this earlier, really. We've got quite a bit of wear on the teeth.
Oh dear.
We'd get away with it. The chances of us getting one of these for tomorrow is very slim.
But with a nice tight chain on it.
Yeah. If it was on my push bike, I'd still pedal.
At least Tony's professional enough to go, there is an issue here. Whereas we'd go, they look mint.
We're going to have to roll with it.
With Tony busy, we started to get a little bit bored, so we went exploring.
Can I get a XFR timing chain, please? But now.
Ooh, 12:15, mate. Tony's just down there now if you want to. He can fit you in right now.
Now, Tom has been very, very kind to let us use his unit. We're here, gone midnight, but Tom's office is there. I think I'm going to go and sit in now. King of the castle, I have a chair. Oh, mate, I think you've got a phone call.
Tom, mate, my Jag V8's broken. Just want to see if I can get your help.
No, f*** off. Yeah, just lost your customer, Tom. Sorry about that.
As it got later and later, Tony's confidence started to diminish.
It's the stage of the job where you feel like you're doing not a lot, but time's running away from you.
So we're at how long?
18 hours, 39.
I think the issue is I like to work quick. And this is the sort of job you can't rush. If you get it wrong, you've got to do it again. And there's definitely not time in the job for that.
20 to 1 in the morning, and Tony has just imparted the knowledge upon us that he aims to be back here at 6:30 tomorrow. So I'm off to sleep standing up.
With Will now gone, Tony decided that this was the exact moment to announce he'd need another set of hands to properly time the engine.
Will has left.
And you have just informed me that you need my hand with this part.
I do indeed.
This is the important part.
This is the important part. This is the VVT timing.
And we won't know until it's in the car.
Until it's in the car and started. And it will start, it will run, and it will drive, but by the time we get a mile down the road,
You'll know.
engine warning light, and you'll get camshaft, crankshaft correlation, which is basically saying camshaft and crankshaft aren't exactly where they should be in time.
They're not speaking to each other.
They're not
correct?
speaking to, exactly.
Both nervous, we got on with this crucial job.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Okay, so if you take the tension on that,
While I held everything perfectly in place for what felt like eternity, Tony torqued all of the bolts up to spec until finally...
we're talked.
Oh, okay. Don't like that.
No.
Really didn't like that.
With one side done, I was feeling more confident, so we got to work on the other side.
So now that it's time, you feel okay.
Feel okay.
So now tomorrow it's just a case of buttoning the engine back up, putting it in the car. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
This is where you're calling it for the night.
Yeah.
We are at 18 hours, 14 minutes and 51 seconds.
Okay, we'll take
I'm
that.
hitting pause.
We'll take that.
No more work on the engine until the morning.
We'll take that.
Day 2.
I haven't started the timer because Tony actually, even though the car is up on the lift, Tony hasn't started.
No.
We have not touched the engine. So it was an early start, trying to figure out what we're going to do about the engine mount issue.
It's not going to stop it running though, so that's not too bad, but if we can get one, we'll get one.
But other than that, we'll crack on with the engine, get building up, and then find out what goodies you've left me.
And Tony had already noticed a few.
We have a snapped wheel nut. Someone has done the nuts up with the power of 1,000 suns.
When we took the engine out, it comes out with the subframe. So this is going to have to come down again with the engine and put the engine on it and go up.
No, we're going to do it a bit different. So ordinarily, if we take it out with the subframe, stick it on a pallet, do the work, pop it back up. Because of the nature of this one, where it's been taken out back in, what we'll do is we'll fit the subframe up, we'll drop the engine in from the top, and then put the gearbox back on, rather than take the subframe back out. After replacing the broken captive.
Oh yeah, so that is
bolts.
one of the things that we experienced when we took it out, is that there are 4 like main subframe bolts. The rear ones have a captive nut at the top, which is like welded in, and that's obviously rusted over time, and that just snapped. So the bolts were just spinning, but that means that needs replacing, because at the moment the subframe's just sagging down. There was also a little wiring issue.
There is a slight wiring
which
issue.
was our fault.
This is the servotronic, so this
okay.
stiffens the steering at higher speeds. Again, we'll get round it, one way or another. It's not going to stop the engine running.
It'll run, but the dashboard is going to be...
Like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
That's fine. So this is the timing check. It feels a lot better turning over. No clunking and chain noises.
To double check that everything was timed correctly, Tony rotated the engine a few times, then used the same timing tools from the day before to ensure everything still lined up perfectly.
Okay, a little bit happier with life.
With the chain job complete, Tony ran some final tests before beginning the reassembly of the engine.
And meanwhile, Edwin and I were on the hunt for some new engine mounts.
I'm doing important research for Tony, by the way. Right, I'm going to give Jaguar Parts a call and see if we can get these engine mounts. I've been told that Tom's a bit of a celebrity there, so might have to do an impression. No, I'm not going to do an impression. I'm just wanting to see if you guys have any engine mounts in stock for an XFR.
Unfortunately, nowhere showing anything, mate.
Nowhere's got any in stock, okay. All right, no worries, thank you though. Nothing from Jag. To the computer we go.
We'll just go f*** ourselves, shall we, Jaguar?
With Jag unable to source the part, we called around anywhere we could find that might stock the mount, but it was a bank holiday weekend and no one was answering.
So they do the same thing right now. They go, someone's in their workshop going, who's ringing on a Saturday? Idiot. Tough. Right, back to the drawing board.
We kept calling around, but it seemed impossible to find engine mounts at such short notice, especially on a weekend. Meanwhile, Tony was hard at work reassembling the engine, but he had noticed a pretty crucial issue.
Coming in this morning, looking at what might need doing on the car, they're the sort of setbacks that I didn't foresee when I did foresee them, let's be honest. We've now come across another missing part.
Basically, you're missing an aux bell.
We're missing an aux bell.
And you want to dress the engine and do it fully, so you need that.
We need that.
I have called Jaguar, so I need to go and get it.
And we might have come up with a way to fix your engine mount temporarily.
We'll collect that bodge.
We'll collect the bodge now.
Collect the bodge.
So we headed off to collect the new aux belt for the Jag.
Right, we're about to pull up on Jag. Also, I will note, this will look like we're not doing much. And it's true.
If we help Tony, we'll slow him down. The name of the game is he believes he can do it in 24 hours, so let's see.
We then arrived at the Jag dealer, where we immediately got distracted.
It's quite nice, actually.
Tell you what. Oh, it's got the wing backs.
It's got wing backs.
It does have the wing
Well,
backs.
that's cool.
Having collected the new belt, we stopped messing around and got back into the car, ready to collect our engine mount solution.
One belt. Next up, engine mount solution.
We then headed to the only logical place to go when your engine mounts are completely shot. And there we have it, a brand new Jaguar XFR engine mount.
While we had been out messing around, Tony had managed to get the supercharger back in and was assembling the front end of the Jag's engine, preparing for the new aux belt. But he'd run into another big issue.
We've got an issue with water pump. The bolt should go in nice and smooth. The lower one is sliding straight through.
Oh no.
The threads are not good. I can't blame you for this one.
Okay, that's a change and I like to see that.
There is some form of thread at the back there. I can try and just fit it because it wasn't leaking before.
No, we never saw a leak. There was no leak.
As long as it goes in far enough and I can get enough on that thread to seal the system, we should be good.
The game is, do you spend the time helicoiling it and then not finish the challenge because you needed that extra 20 minutes here or there, or do you run the risk?
This engine is going in that car, and we're turning the key and it's going to run. Everything else can be dealt with afterwards.
Hey, that's the challenge we set.
It turned out that the supposedly ruined lower hole had actually been repaired in the past and was bigger than standard, meaning it just needed a larger bolt to properly engage the threads.
So Tony drilled a larger hole in the new water pump to accommodate the bigger bolt.
And thankfully, this allowed him to properly mount the water pump onto the front of the engine. But then Tony ran into another problem.
You really kindly went and got me an auxiliary belt. It is right, but the supercharger belt you supplied me is too long.
There's multiple.
We can fix that.
This is okay.
We 100% have the original belt. It'll be at the unit. We've written this in. This is all fake.
Yeah. Have you read the script
Excellent.
yet? Did you not read the script?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, it's in there. If you check the script,
we'll have a look.
This is the part where we go and get the
No problem.
This is the bit where TDC up.
While we went to the unit to collect the correct belt, Tony was getting closer to reinstalling the engine, but discovered yet another issue caused by us.
Supercharger's on, charge cooler's on, and now we're mounted and ready to lift.
Are we getting ready to go in?
We're close.
When we got out of the car, Jay said there's been another development.
There's a connector around the back here, which Will obviously didn't undo. It must have just broken by itself. No. This is the whole engine vacuum system.
Is there a solution to said issue?
There is a solution. We've robbed a connector off of another XF outside. Not a customer's, it's a scrap one.
Okay,
so
good.
It's fine.
You've already fixed.
We're done.
Tony says, here's the problem, I fixed it.
With that crisis averted, Tony checked to see if the supercharger belt we picked up from the unit would fit correctly.
We're on. Right, slightly happier with life.
So hold on, that is a complete engine ready to go in the car. Exactly halfway through.
Halfway through.
Are you ahead or behind?
If it all goes to plan, we should be good. If there's any more issues, we could be, tight.
We were really impressed with Tony's progress so far. 12 hours to install the engine seemed like plenty of time, but we all knew that Will and I had been the ones to remove it initially, which could lead to some major delays. But first, Tony needed to fix the engine mounts.
This is liquid engine mount.
Sticking the engine mount back together.
We'll just stick it in for now.
There he is.
It's clear, so nobody will be able to see
I
it.
deliberately got you the clear one for that reason. Oh, look at that.
Oh, do you know what? That feels quite good. That is going nowhere.
Also, worth noting, it's not going to stay like that. Faced with our current predicament, the engine needs to go in and it needs to start. And Tony's running out of time.
Look at that. Like the factory did it themselves.
As if TDC did it themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, Tony is just preparing the engine bay to put the engine in finally. However, if you want to figure out if you're owed some money, today's sponsor might be able to help.
By now, most of you will probably have heard of the car finance mis-selling issue that has been all over the news.
And if you have ever had car finance, even as far back as 2007, you might be eligible to claim compensation.
Now, there are a few ways that you can go about it. You can contact your lender directly yourself, you can contact the Financial Ombudsman and submit a complaint, or you can wait until later this year where a redress scheme might happen.
But there's no guarantee that that will happen, and even if it does, past FCA schemes like PPI didn't always result in the best payouts.
That's where this week's sponsor, Reclaim 24/7, comes in, because they offer a no-win, no-fee service that lets you start the claims process now, using their free online checker to track down your old agreements and start building a case for you.
They work with regulated legal partners so that your case gets proper attention, and by claiming now, you're putting yourself in the queue rather than waiting to see if you're ever contacted.
So if you don't have time to dig through your old paperwork, or you just want someone to handle the process for you, Reclaim 24/7 is a super easy place to start.
So hit the link in the description, see if you've got any money owed to you. There's no pressure at all. It's just an easy way to see if you're owed some money.
After over 12 hours of work, the massive V8 was finally ready to go back into the Jag. But with the wheel from earlier still seized on, Tony gambled on lowering it in from above rather than using his usual method of installing it from beneath.
This wasn't a one-man job, so we all rallied together to help Tony get the engine in. But as we worked, it became clear why most people remove and install these V8s from below.
Oh, that's going to be tight, isn't it? Yeah, you can't push that far back. No, because we're up against the sensor here.
The front is now pushing those front pipes down.
Since we couldn't get the engine to fit in the bay as it was, we lifted it back out of the car. Tony then removed whatever he could to maximise the available space.
Then we went for a second attempt, which seemed to be going better than the first.
Tony, now that this engine's in, are you feeling better?
Once this is sat on the mounts, yeah, we're good to go.
This whole video so far is an emotional rollercoaster.
I like to prepare for the worst.
And that was a good thing, because progress was suddenly halted.
I'm outside here because it's the war room inside at the moment. The mounts that hold the engine to the crane, which are correct and Jaguar parts, will not allow you to drop the engine inside, which is the reason that everyone takes them out of the bottom, like how we took them out and how he was going to take them out, but he thought, it's easier, let me just put it in. So now it looks like he's going to have to pull the engine fully out again and potentially come in from the underneath again with the subframe. If he has to, it's going to push him to the wire.
I think there's two options at the moment. We put a big strap around the engine, but it's not the sturdiest. The other option is to drop the subframe onto the deck, put the engine on it.
Which means getting this wheel off somehow.
If it wasn't for that wheel, I'd be doing that already. It just throws another spanner in the works.
10 hours, 11 minutes, 30 seconds.
That gives me 11 minutes to decide what to do, that's fine.
Out of his already limited option, the only real solution was to drop the subframe, install the engine onto it, and then lower the car onto the engine. But to do that, Tony would first need to figure out how to remove the damaged wheel bolt from earlier, and he quickly came to one simple solution.
Drill it. Right, we're back on.
Back on track.
With time ticking, this setback was really unfortunate, but Tony remained determined and got the subframe out onto some jack stands.
How you feeling, Tony?
Under pressure. This was not in the plan for today.
With everything in place, Tony lowered the engine onto the subframe and secured it to the freshly repaired engine mount. Then it was time to lower the car onto the engine.
8 hours and 35 minutes.
Let's have a little cup of tea. Get that blooming thing in.
Oh, it's all good here. It's all good here on my side. Yeah.
This whole process was not easy at all. The engine had to be positioned perfectly. If it was even slightly misaligned, it wouldn't sit properly in the engine bay, or worse, we would crush vital components. So the pressure was really on.
But with both Will and I helping, and after countless adjustments,
The first thread is resting on the hole now.
With that tense installation seemingly over, it was looking like the engine was finally back in the Jag.
I no longer see an engine on a stand. It's a good thing, because we are 7 hours and 50 minutes. You are 3/4 in. Realistically, what do you think?
2 to 3 hours.
And then also, there's the start up and see if it runs, how it runs.
If there's any remedial work needs doing, we're pushed.
With the engine now fully mounted in the Jag, Tony got to work reconnecting all of the lines, pipes and connectors. He then began prepping the gearbox components for reinstallation.
6 hours 40 left.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Oh, he's still confident. Okay, cool.
Time for gearbox. Yeah, let's get the gearbox up.
Very well done.
Watch your head.
Top work.
Tony then lifted the gearbox into position. Removing it took us hours, but installing it didn't give him any issues at all.
He then bolted it into place and moved on to installing the exhaust cats, which we'd had a massive issue with when removing.
As with the whole way through this project, you think you're going great guns and then you get TDC'd.
I will say, you had to heat the living daylights out of that just to get it to come off.
I don't actually blame you for this one, because it is very common for these to bend.
To fix it, Tony heated the bolt until glowing red and then straightened it out with a hammer.
Right, the thread's not great. It's a little bit straighter. We should be able to get a nut on it. Hopefully it won't blow too much.
4 hours, 54 minutes.
There's no room for a, engine's not right, or whatever we've got.
There's literally no room for error now.
Okay.
With that issue resolved, time was ticking. So Tony continued finishing installing the exhaust, refitted the front wheels, and reconnected anything left to do in the engine bay.
We were edging closer and closer to the first startup, all of us nervous after the sheer amount of work this car had taken.
I'm nervously awaiting a startup. I'm very impressed, actually. I will say that. Very, very impressed by this thing. I mean, Tony will say this is his job, but still, this would have been weeks and days and weeks and months of us doing this. So fingers crossed, because time is still ticking. We can afford no issues now.
No issues. We don't talk issues.
As we pushed deeper into the night, Tony continued installing engine bay components, reinstalling the fuse box, coolant expansion tank, and eventually the intakes.
These are final throws of the engine coming on.
We're going intake on...
Air filters,
Yeah, we'll put some air filters.
and then oil, and then that you're going for it.
I just want to hear it run. Just really want to hear it run.
With the intakes reinstalled, Tony moved on to the final step, filling the car with fluids.
We're on oils and fluids.
We're on
Oils
oils
and
and
fluids.
fluids.
We've still got over 3 hours to go, so this is interesting.
This is just the stuff that came out of it, because they done an oil change fairly recently.
Probably done about a mile.
How much did you put in?
Was it 7 1/4?
Yeah, we've got 7.5. This is start-up oil, we'll call this.
You don't start the day on an empty stomach.
You used yesterday's shit.
With all of us clearly delirious, all Tony needed to do was refill the engine with coolant, and then, at last, he could attempt a first start.
I think Tony's confident. Putting on the front valance, putting on, you know.
Oil in it.
Yeah, he's getting cocky, he's putting oil in the thing. He thinks this thing's going to run.
He thinks he's all that. I wouldn't bother.
Coolant in, it was finally time to see if it would start.
Batteries on, coolant's in, oil's in, power steering fluid's in. Yeah, this could be it.
Just a quick check.
Oh God, so what rectification time have we got?
We have just dropped under 3 hours. You have been going for now 21 hours. You have 2 hours and 55 minutes left.
2:55. Let's give this a go.
After all of this work, it was the moment of truth. Would this Jag finally fire up, or were we in for another world of pain?
How quiet it is now.
That is a running 5 litre Jaguar engine in 21 hours. Tony, very well done.
That is unbelievable.
Oh,
No, what have we got?
that's fuel.
Have we got fuel leak?
Hold on. That's fuel. That's big time fuel.
Restart the clock.
We'll keep that going for a little bit.
The Jag was running, but for Tony to win the challenge, he'd need to drive the car out of the workshop under its own steam. So he wasn't done yet, and the clock was still ticking.
There we go.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, there we go. Do you remember when I was taking it apart? I went, I've never had that before. That issue with that union. I bet it's that. No. 10 minutes, this will be done, sorted.
Tony repaired the union he suspected was causing the issue. He was confident it would solve the problem, but if it didn't, we could be in deep trouble.
Ignition on,
Clear.
and let's start.
Clear for takeoff.
I think we're all good.
Looking good.
I think we're all good.
That sounds cool!
I think this needs to make it out of here
Drive it out the door.
under its own steam.
Call it Vin Diesel. We got nothing but time.
Let's get it out.
Finally, after all of that work, the Jag was back moving under its own steam once again.
It's not perfect. It's not done.
It's not done.
There's bits to do, but that wasn't the challenge.
And it's about to dry.
And it's about to drive. The moment you drive out of these doors, I'm going to hit end on the timer.
It does sound good with no exhaust.
Yeah, leave them off.
And there it is.
There it is.
2 hours, 22 minutes and 59 seconds.
Fair play. At no point were you nervous.
No,
No, you were.
cool as a cucumber for 22 hours.
More
Yeah.
importantly, congratulations on your brand new Jaguar
new car.
XFR.
I'll be honest, until we've just done that,
Yeah.
I still thought it was a wind up.
I want to say thank you, Tony, but I mean,
No,
thanks
well,
for
no,
taking it off our hands.
thank you.
No,
Look,
don't
just-
thank us. We're the ones who messed it up. So there we go. I'm unbelievably impressed that you've done that. We haven't done much, to be fair, in this video, but there's not much we could have done because Tony is an expert in this stuff. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to watch where we bought a green Jag with no keys and a little bit more amateur about it, you can watch that here, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Fair play, Tony.